Security! Security! Hey fam, what's up, what's up, what's up? This is Robert Anton here, robertantonnyc.com, coming to you with your No Frills American Idol commentary from a singer. Let me tell you, tonight we were in Chicago and there was a lot of fun to be had, and I just want to jump into it because it was a long show, 2 hours. Yesterday's video was 17 minutes or something like that. I'm really sorry, but I try to give you all the information I can. We're just going to jump into this, hope that it's a little shorter, but that it is entertaining and informative. So here we go. We started with the skit of some woman on a speakerphone with 4 sisters waiting for their sister to come out of the room, right? And I just didn't understand it. It wasn't funny. I didn't know who the people were. I thought maybe it was one of the producers or something. If you knew why they did this skit, please let me know. So they were auditioning again in Chicago at the Adler Planetarium. It was 2 days, and they did the first hour of day 1, the second hour of day 2. So in day 1, we started with McKinsey, Wasner, who did Whenever You Come Around by Vince Gill. And her dad had played piano for Vince Gill, so it was an interesting song choice. She had a very clear and pretty country sound and was very poised with some nice little riffs going on. Mariah said there was star power there and her voice is gorgeous. Of course, she got 4 yeses to go through. Earles tried to do some Sweet Fantasy by Mariah, but it was terrible. What is that the name of the song? Sweet Fantasy, baby. It was just not the business. I got my first laugh of the night on that one. Then Kiara Lanier did Prayer by Celine Dion, and she sang for Obama for his birthday fundraiser and got a hug and handshake for him, so that was her up story, you know. She launched right into the song and did some really nice things with tenderness and restraint. Nikki was like, whoop! What, you know, when she finished, and she said she had so much control what she did. She got 4 yeses, and Keith said she had done some Aaron Neville nuances in her runs. I am liking the way Keith talks because he's kind of comparing these artists to people that we know and saying, oh, you sound like so-and-so and so, or you're mixing so-and-so and so with a little so-and-so and so, and it's good to have somebody like that on the panel. Stephanie Schimel, 21, was next. She did Dream a Little Dream of Me. It's old standard. Ella Fitzgerald did it. A lot of people did it. And I was like, wow. I mean, she really had a nice voice with such great control and tone. Her tone was beautiful. Keith said her mix was beautiful, but Nikki wasn't wild. We got 3 yeses. Of course, Nikki said no. And then the Mariah and Nikki argument started, and they ran for several clips with them fighting and stuff like that. Then came Melissa Bush. She did Downtown by Petula Clark, and she brought Randy a Get Down Dog t-shirt, you know, and she wore this cat suit costume. That was kind of cute on her. She was so thin, you know, and so I wrote on Twitter wallflower-ish. She was just not, I don't know, with someone right there, but she seemed like a really sweet girl, but not a really good singer. She wasn't so bad as to be funny, just not good. Then we got Haley Reinhart, who showed up, and she was hyping up the crowd of auditioners during auditions, and she was looking very good. Then Gabe Brown came in doing Give Me Shelter by the Rolling Stones. I wasn't expecting the crazy voice that came out of him. It was just really loud and raw, and I wasn't really sure what to think of it. This rock kind of sound, but I wasn't sure if it was a good rendition or anything like that. I just wasn't sure. It's not my style at all, and I've heard rock singers who really sing well, and it just didn't sound like that to me. Keith asked him if he could do something with volume, then you know he was being funny. And then Mariah asked him for something a little softer, a little sweeter, something to show his voice. And he did We All Die Young, I think Steel Dragon, and it showed that he did have a nice solid voice, but it really didn't impress me. Nikki called him curly, but he did get 4 yeses to go through. Then we had Kevin Nabity. He did One Week by Barenaked Ladies, and this had me laughing. He was doing a low voice chipmunk version, I called it, because it was so fast, but it was just like really in a lower voice. And Randy said he felt like he was at an auction. Oh, wait, come down next to me. Oh. Nikki asked her to do a second song. I do not know why. I really don't. And he did Come Sail Away. And it wasn't as bad, but it was dry. I mean, it was just not good. He was saying his voice was dry and all this. It just wasn't good. They all said no. Isabelle Parell was next. She was 15 and she did Baby It's Cold Outside, Old Christmas Standard. You guys probably know what this is. And she brought in a little card of lyrics because she wanted to sing it with Keith Urban, which I would not normally recommend because you know what? They might actually mess you up if they do something that you didn't expect or something like that. But it came over well in this case. So I liked her tone to begin with. A solid, really solid tone, but nice and sweet. And she had a sexy little rasp. Can I say that with her being 15? But it was just a nice rasp to it, and I was really liking the way it just sounded, I mean, just great, so sweet to my ears, you know what I'm saying? Nikki said she seems like a star. She got 3 yeses. Randy said no. Then Nikki said she reminds her of Taylor Swift. When she left, she said, oh, she reminds me of Taylor. And I'm thinking she's talking about Taylor Swift. Then Keith had to leave for a concert or something, and so they just had 3 judges auditioning people for the rest of day 1. And Nikki was flirting with all the guys, so they ran all these clips with her flirting with the guys, and one guy took off his shirt, you know, and all this good stuff. She was looking at people's crotch and all that. Just carrying on. Okay. Then Griffin Peterson came in and he did Washed by the Water by Need to Breathe, and I liked his voice. He started and was so comfortable and had a really cool sound. Randy said his voice was barely average. I totally did not agree. Mariah said she saw potential and he got 2 yeses to go through. So now they only need 2 out of 3 to go through to Hollywood. Curtis Finch Jr. came in. He did God is Able by Smokie Norful. Let me testify, people. Let me testify. Nikki was trying to give everybody nicknames and all this throughout. So, you know, all these people came in, she would start playing around with their names, and then she gave him a nickname, Finchy. So this guy is definitely a church singer. And, you know, guys, for those of y'all who know me, you know I love that sound. I love them church singers who can really do their thing. He had great control of his voice with a rich sound, and it touched the whole panel. But let me tell you, them sick runs he was doing, I mean, from the bottom of his range, I can't even do him, you know what I'm saying? He was killing it. I was like, you better sing. Touched me to my core. He went and got his friend after he was done, you know, because of course he went through 4 yeses to go through, because she wanted to meet Mariah and she loved Mariah. So Mariah came in and she got a hug from Mariah, which was really nice. And Nikki told him he was so blessed. She was just like, oh my God, she loves that type of singer, and I do too. I ain't even gonna testify no more. This might be long, so I don't want to go on with it. I hope brother goes a long way. And I don't know why, but I was tearing up when Nikki said something to Mariah. She said, do you know what it's like the first time you meet Mariah? And she might have been saying it a little tongue-in-cheek, but I think it was really saying, you know, from her personal experience when she worked with Mariah, she first got to meet her, that it was probably overwhelming and just like, awe. Just totally awe, and I was just like, wow, that was a really nice moment in the show for me. Next we have Mariah Pulice. I don't know if it's Pulice or Police. She did Let It Be by the Beatles, and this girl started crying because she's recovering from anorexia, and we saw her story and all that. It was heartbreaking, really was. She definitely had the judge's attention, and she launched into the song, and it was so sweet. She started out really softly, just nice and tender. I liked her low notes most of all, and she had a nice approach to the song. Like I said, just very tender. Mariah was crying and said she touched her. She got 3 yeses, and Ryan had snuck her family into the room to watch. So when she was done, they all celebrated with her. That was the end of day 1. Please thumb up the commentary if you are enjoying it. It really keeps me going, letting me know that you guys like it. Also letting know others that you are enjoying it. Also Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, blah blah blah, any social networks, Reddit, StumbleUpon, and all that good stuff that you can send it out and share it with your friends. I really appreciate it because we are over here discussing Idol. Day 2, Chicago. Brandy Neelly was up first. She was 17. She did Your Cheating Heart. I was reading on Twitter that she was coming back for another time. I don't remember her from before. Hank Williams, I loved how she attacked the song. I mean, just boom, she got right in there. Very good country sound, though she was a little loud here and there in places. What I did notice and like though is that she got very loud, but she also brought it down really nicely and caressed many of the places of the notes. So that showed me that she had a lot of control. Keith said it was a great song choice. Mariah also liked the song choice, and she said she loved her voice voice and called her a talented singer. She got 4 yeses to go through to Hollywood. Then Josh Holiday did Back at One, and this was kind of a run of several good people that they had gotten. Back at One by Brian McKnight, he had a really nice surprising sound, and he went into a falsetto so flawlessly. I really enjoyed it. Nikki said his tone is one that they hadn't heard yet. He got 4 yeses. Courtney Williams did Who's Loving You. She turned out her audition. I was really enjoying it. Looking forward to seeing more of her. Andrew Williams did Knock on Wood. I wrote Anita Ward. I know it was done before her, but that's the version that I remember. A very solid performance and voice. Then Clifton Duffin did Superstar by Luther Vandross. He got the full treatment. He had a nice natural tone, but not a lot of polish. He had not sang before out in public, supposedly. His parents had never heard him sing before around the house or anything like that. I liked his sound though. Mariah was tearing up again, and Nikki thought he'd be an inspiration to others who were scared to sing. Keith said he had a diamond in the rough voice, and I feel the same way. Just not very polished, not great, but you could just tell just natural talent. And Nikki was saying her mother, later on afterwards, where after he went through, Nikki was saying that her mother had never heard her rap before she made it big. And I just found that interesting. Aisha Cotton came up next. She did Thank You by Ashanti, or she tried to do that. She tried to do. Yeah, she was a good dancer. They had her dance a little bit beforehand because she said she was a professional dancer. But singer, not so much. The panel was not feeling her at all. Mariah said she suggests she sticks with dancing, and Randy told her she's tone deaf. He just came out and said, no, you tone deaf, dog. Mariah said yes at first, and I was like, what? But she said it was by mistake because Nikki was distracting her or whatever, and then she meant to say no. Of course, she got 4 no's. Then Johnny Keyser came back. Yay! I remember Johnny. I liked Johnny. Let's say I liked his voice. I liked his look. I liked his personality early in the auditions last time he was here. He did Try a Little Tenderness by Otis Redding. I love that he chose this song and this version. I was looking, I wrote my notes. I said I knew I recognized him in the clips beforehand. I was like, I know that guy. So he was sounding good as ever. I loved his rendition and have always liked his voice and approach to the way he sings. Maybe he won't come off as so cocky this time, because afterwards I was reading also on Twitter how, you know, everybody's like, oh, I ain't like him because when that boy fainted, he kept on singing and all that good stuff. And somebody said, well, maybe he'll get a chance to sing for the paramedics if somebody faints this time. You know, people just went in. There were those who were like really loving him, and then there were those that remembered him from last season and were just like, I didn't like him, he too cocky, I didn't like him, you know. And we got some cattiness between Mariah and Nikki. He did get 4 yeses to go through though. Then Kes Bond went through doing Pinocchio and an original song, and I wrote he, she was strange, but I'm not sure if it's a guy or a girl. I mean, a really nice sound, a strange outgoing person. I was loving the original song and the way it sounded in the person's voice, and just really stellar. I mean, I could hear this on the radio, I would buy it, and showed off this person's voice amazingly. It was a seriously surprise, because I just the way they were setting it up, I didn't feel like they were going to be good at all. I thought it was going to be a funny performance because, you know, it was this person was a street performer, a fire performer, said they were a singer-songwriter, was making like the little balloons and stuff, the little animal balloons. So I just didn't think it was going to be good, and I was so impressed. So I cannot say how impressed I was, especially with the original song. Then I was reading on Twitter that it was a girl. Kes Bond was a female, and I was like, oh, okay, well, that would explain the dress, but I wasn't sure. I just really wasn't sure. And then she haggled over doing paperwork with Ryan Seacrest, and they let it go for a while after the audition. Like, oh, am I gonna have to fill out? Can I do it another time? And I was just like, I don't know why they did that, but whatever. It was. Yeah, it was too much. Next up was Ashley Curry, 19. She did Mama Knows Best by Jessie J, a musical theater performer that was going to college for musical theater. Okay, and I thought she was going to be good because she was, you know, going to school for musical theater, right? But boy, was I wrong. This was funny terrible. I mean, just really. Maybe she should have sung a musical theater song. I don't know. But she launched into the song and it was bad. So bad. And the judges were all like, and they were just like, and Brian was like, seriously? And she was terrible. So then when they stopped, they started talking and stuff like that. And then she just launched into the song again. And everybody was surprised. And Mariah jumped up like she was going to walk out of the room. And it was crazy. And then they were like, well, Nick was like, well, why don't you do a scene for us or something like that? Why don't you do a monologue or whatever? And they were trying to set this whole thing up. Mariah started setting something up, and then she just launched into the song again. And I was just like, is she serious? She really cannot be serious. Security! Security! Oh my God, security did escort her out of the room, and I was just like, she couldn't be serious. She was a twin too. She couldn't be serious. Do you think she was serious? I just don't. Okay, the last audition of the night was Lazaro Arbos. He did Bridge Over Troubled Water by Simon & Garfunkel, one of my favorite songs, really. And he's from Cuba, and he has a really thick stutter, and it was probably more pronounced because he was in the audition and he was nervous. Actually, when he was in the interview, he was better. Still had the stutter, but you know, he was getting through. You could understand him better, and it was probably because he was more relaxed. And knowing people who stutter, I know when they get nervous, they tend to, you know, it's more pronounced. So naturally, he had no stutter at all when he sang. And just, I want to read my notes. He was singing, and he had a nice, really nice voice, and I liked his rendition of the song, simple and sweet. And again, I wrote he had a nice voice, and Randy called it pleasant. He got 4 yeses, and he was crying while they were commenting to begin with, naturally, because he was just overwhelmed. It's just a very sweet and inspirational ending to the evening. And for me, I thought 2 hours, it just flew by. The last hour didn't so much, but the first hour and a half really flew by for me. 46 hopefuls went through to Hollywood from Chicago, and the next episode is going to be in Charlotte. What did you think of the show tonight? Make sure that you check out my originals playlist here on YouTube. I am also a singer-songwriter, and I have the So You Want to Be a Singer series here with over 100 videos telling you, the aspiring singer, how you can get into the business as a professional performer for a very wonderful, wonderful, and satisfying life. I'm out. Peace.